Here's another one of my back burner videos. One that I always had the idea for, but just never had the time to do it, so it just kind of sat over there until I got around to it. Obviously, now I've finally gotten around to it. I forgot who showed me the template, essentially gave me the transparent picture that you're going to be seeing in all of the slides here, but thanks to them, whoever they are. I'll probably figure it out later and then throw it in the description or some shit. But these are essentially my favorite Fire Emblem Heroes characters from each category. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so it's almost like a top 10, but not really, I guess. Alright, let's just get into it. Are you even really surprised? It's fucking Ike. Who else could it possibly fucking be? Of course it's Ike. There's literally no other sword unit I would put over Ike. Even if they're, like, better in some ways than Ike is. Like, maybe Ryoma or something. Ike's my fucking favorite character. Hands down. That's it. No fucking surprise. So it's probably a nice thing that this one is first. Okay, so now let's move on to something that's actually more interesting to talk about. This one, so the first one was stupidly easy. This one, Honoka, was actually very hard to decide on. I was jumping between Honoka or Brave Lucina. I really like Brave Lucina a lot, and I think she's the most underrated Brave hero. I mean, it's not hard to pick out of all of them. A lot of people like Roy. Brave Lyn was recommended to free-to-play players. And then, you know, Brave Ike, he's obviously pretty fucking tough and powerful. But I ended up settling on my Fire Emblem Fates Birthright waifu, essentially. In my Birthright playthrough, I had my Corrin marry Honoka, which, by the way, their S-rank conversation is the most cringy fucking support I have ever seen. Oh god. Oh, just oh, it's so bad. Just look it up after the video. It's really bad. But otherwise, I really like Honoka. I even, despite all the hate she gets for her voice, you know, the raspy tomboyish thing, I actually like her voice. I really do like it. But as far as Fire Emblem Warriors and whatever, I really don't like it when they switch voice actors because it kind of breaks the immersion or whatever. So I'll jump on that bandwagon. Otherwise, yeah, Honoka is my Blue Lance pick. Fun fact, she was also my first 5-star. So she was actually pretty strong back in the day before skill inheritance. She was kind of up there in the meta along with Takumi, Camilla, Ryoma, etc. A lot of Fates characters were really fucking strong, weren't they? Well, anyway, here was another tough choice. But I ended up settling on Azura, the Axe version, you know, performing arts one. Otherwise, I didn't want to put Ike in here a second time. He would easily be the one I pick, but I kind of want to have a little bit of variability in my choices. I just, like, if there was an Ike for each different category, it would be very obvious that I would just fucking throw Ike in every single one. This is my favorite unit, haha, this is my favorite unit. So I want to change things up a bit. I'm gonna put Ike that one time, and that's it. I don't even have Axe Azura, but out of all of the other Axe units I could have chose from, I actually liked Azura the best. Also because she's pretty sexy. She's probably, arguably, the most powerful dancer in the game at the moment. what with her Might 16 axe and the fact that she's the only dancer that can reach a base attack of 51 with an attack boon, that's pretty fucking crazy. Not to mention that she's pretty quick by herself. And on top of that, her axe also exemplifies her dance ability. Holy fucking shit. Not only is she a dancer, but she can actually be a very competitive combat unit in itself. That's pretty awesome. That scores a nice little win. You know, there's plenty of other axe units that can, you know, serve plenty of different combat roles, but can you have one that also fucking dances? Maybe Legion, but I don't think anybody wants to see that. Okay, now the bow unit. And I'm not gonna pick Brave Lynn. Fuck that. I'm going with Clarice. Alright? I'm actually really fucking sick of seeing Brave Lynn in Arena. Oh, God. Let me just pause for a second here and say how every time we see, like, a new banner or new units or new fucking anything, we always think it's gonna, like, change the meta. But it always ends up just joining the meta. Oh, fuck. I think I actually see Brave Lynn more often than Reinhardt now. God, fuck. Fucking A. Fuck you, Brave Lynn. Insert Star Wars meme here. But otherwise, let's actually talk about Clarice now. Clarice was my third bow unit. The only 5-star bow units I got at the time were Faye and Takumi. So Takumi obviously fell pretty fucking far as soon as Skill Inheritance came out. Well, maybe not as soon as Skill Inheritance came out, but soon after. Because, you know, the first thing that popped into my mind when Skill Inheritance came out was like, oh, gotta give Takumi Vantage. Boom, perfect, epic, amazing, yeah! Anyway, the second bow unit I got after Takumi became very underwhelming was Faye. And she was, oh god. That is probably one of the only units I've tried to make and failed. There's no saving Faye, come on. She's 5-star fodder, unfortunately, and there's nothing that can really change my mind because I really put as much effort and time as I could into Faye, and it ended up being a waste because, well, I mean, you could actually make Faye a competitive unit, but you need to replace her weapon. I didn't feel like doing that, so instead, I gave her Fire Sweep Bow to Clarice, and I have never regretted it since. Clarice is actually a very, like, solid pick as a bow unit. She is very versatile. She can fulfill a lot of roles. If you don't have, you know, fucking Bridelia, she could potentially fill the role as your speedy brave bow user. She fills the role as my offensive life and death, you know, fire sweep bow user, which is pretty fucking awesome. I believe she's at 39 speed and a pretty high attack. Never regretted it since. I highly appreciate my Clarice, and I'm glad I made her a 5-star. Who can say with a straight face that they haven't been worked up by Olivia's attire? Ooh, man. Getting hot and bothered already. Look at that. Fuck. I mean, she knows how to reinvigorate the spirit. Oh, man. So, despite the fact that I've never gotten Performing Arts Olivia either, and the fact that I've never even rolled on the banner, I still really like these two units, and they're my favorite characters, and yet I never pulled for them, and I probably never will. I purposely missed my opportunity. It's mind-blowing, right? It doesn't make any sense. But I really like the units, and they're really nice. I like their art. They bring a competitive kit to the table, you know? And also, other Shuriken users are pretty underwhelming. The other two I kind of had competing for the spot were Felicia, Jafar, and Kagero. Kagero, if I'm even saying that right. Used to be pretty high up in the meta when the game was primarily infantry units as far as strong units went, but now obviously meta shifted into non-infantry and Kegaro fucking fell off like a splattered fly on the wall. But I ended up just finalizing on Olivia just because she brings much more than more utility, I think, to the table than the other dagger users. The dagger users overall seem to have like the purpose of going in there and murdering things, essentially being an assassin, but they don't have the stats to back it up, really. I think they're, man, dagger users. Fuck, man, I really don't need to dive into it, and I actually don't really want to. It's just kind of, I wish dagger users had a little bit more competitiveness, if you know what I mean. I'm sure you know what I mean. Okay, moving on to the next. Sanaki! This one was actually tough. Surprisingly, I went with Sanaki, even though she's a fucking cunt. Just listen to her voice lines. She is a straight up bitch, man. She's very entitled. And, I mean, what would you expect from a child emperor? She's fucking 10 years old in Path of Radiance. And in Radiant Dawn, she's fucking 13, man. So, Fire Emblem Heroes iteration is obviously Radiant Dawn. That's what her little description says. So in this case, she's 13, but she's still a fucking cunt. She had to grow up fast because she's leading an entire nation. That doesn't excuse you for being a fucking cunt. God damn it. Just have a little respect for other people. Stop being so uppity. God damn it drives me nuts. The only reason I picked you over Tharja, or Tharia, depending on your pronunciation, is because of one of my last streams. I went into Arena Assault, and she legitimately straight up 1v4'd the enemy team in Arena Assault. That's fucking nuts. It wasn't even like a crazy team or nothing. Like, red mages get a pretty bad rap just because of the fact that the red pool is pretty full, you could say. It's full of so many sword users, man. So the meta's kind of like green and blue heavy. That's where a lot of the very good units lie, especially in blue. So you'll see a lot of teams that have like an extra blue unit rather than, you know, an extra green or an extra red, right? Just because reds are so superfluous. Is that the word? I don't fucking know. In Arena and the meta and just the hero pool in general. So it's actually really difficult to get use out of a red unit that isn't already overwhelmingly powerful. Like my Ike. So, surprisingly, because of the fact that you usually see a lot of blue in Arena, Sanaki coming with Triangle Adept is actually pretty fucking powerful. Oh man, she's got some good resistance. She's essentially like a slightly stronger Sophia. So if you have like a Sophia built up, don't even worry about, you know, trying to get a Sanaki or something like that. Man, you give Sanaki Red Tomebreaker and you like have her keep Triangle Adept and she's pretty much set. That covers a lot of your bases. Really fucking strong, man. But otherwise, Tharja, let me just touch on her real quick. She was actually my avatar's wife in Awakening. That's probably slightly controversial, and it might trigger a couple of you in the comments. I know hating on Tharja and Camilla's pretty popular. I've shit on both of them equally a little bit, just, you know, participating in the shit talking, but it's whatever, it's fine. Tharja's pretty fucking strong too, especially because I plan on giving mine, she's plus attack, I plan on giving mine the life and death combo with desperation, I think. But Sanaki won out in the end just because of a past experience. She fucking destroyed the enemy team, and I was never happier or more surprised. That was amazing. Fuck. Props. Male Robin. is my pick for Blue Tome. People were probably going to think it was going to be like Lind or one of the other fast, or yeah, Delthea, the fast, you know, glass cannon type of mages. Delthea's fucking absolutely powerful. But I gotta give it to my man, Male Robin, just because he was my first upgraded 5-star. And at the time, I actually didn't know anything about IVs, so I ended up upgrading a plus defense minus attack Robin. I gave him Triangle Adept and Bowbreaker, and despite the fact that he was minus attack, he was my star player in Arena for the longest time, countering essentially, or very roughly, half the hero pool. You know, he was able to counter reds and colorless. Despite the fact he was minus attack, he would one-round kill anything he had Triangle Adept advantage against, which was absolutely killer. So when I had the opportunity, I got a plus attack minus defense Robin. I actually upgraded that Robin, merged the old one into the new one, and now he's even more powerful. Oh god, he's virtually a staple of my Arena team, and I usually float around tier 18 and 19. Oh man, he's great, man. On top of that, in case if you guys were always wondering, because I've gotten these questions a couple of times, besides Ike, my favorite character is Male Robin. I identify a lot with him because he's a tactician, aka strategist, and if I were a character in a Fire Emblem game, if I could wield any combination of weapons, it would probably be magic and swords. I fucking love swords. Magic is fucking powerful. It's always powerful. Why wouldn't it be? It's fucking magic. So, yeah, Robin takes my Blue Tome slot. Second favorite character, and also some of you guys know that I cosplayed as Robin for Halloween. It was fucking great. I love Robin. Awesome. So, judging by the circumstances in the voting gauntlet, and if you're watching this in the future for some reason, that's long-haired gents, short-haired ladies, Sauron is obviously going to be my Green Tome pick. So, you know what? He's probably, like, maybe arguably my third favorite character. I never actually thought about it until this exact moment right here, but I really do like Sauron a lot. He's like a more edgy version of Robin. You know, he happens to be actually like, you just need to read up on Sauron a bit. He's actually a very powerful and pivotal character, and ends up actually being the Prince of Dayan because he's got royal blood in him. He happens to be branded, which means he's part what's the name? Goldoan, and part human. So, Path of Radiance had the race of beast shifters that were called Laguz. So, like Sauron's mom happened to be Dragon Laguz, and his father was King Ashnard, I believe. Spoilers! Fuck! Shit! But otherwise, in Fire Emblem Heroes, Sauron is easily overlooked, right? He's actually a fantastic counter to the biggest two, the enemies of the meta, and that is fucking Bravelyn and Reinhardt. But he only really fully counters Bravelyn under certain circumstances, which is specifically having Grown Raven, Triangle Adept, and then on top of both of those, having a plus defense nature, which mine has. And I can reliably bait, counter, and kill both Reinhardt and Bravelyn under the majority of circumstances, especially, you know, vanilla Bravelyn, because most people don't actually change up her abilities at all. If it happens to be a Bravelyn walking around with a brave bow, well, I might have issues. Sauron is also another one of my staple characters in Fire Emblem Heroes. He usually, almost always, shows up in a team, Grand Hero Battle, Arena, all of it. I even S-ranked him with Ike, because why wouldn't I? They're probably my two most powerful units in the game right now. Especially because I've got Sauron merged, I've got Ike merged. It's a match made in heaven. Okay, so, yeah, Ninian. Dragon units, man. Come on, IS. Come on. We have six fucking dragons in the game. And they are the most underwhelming units as far as emblems are concerned. They have very little development, and you only really get away with using one of these dragons in the case of usually some sort of turtle build, which consists of, you know, increasing the bulk stats, having lightning breath plus, which has distant counter built into it. Stuff like that. We got, what, 3 blue dragons, 1 green one, and 2 red. And of those 2 red, it's the same fucking character? We really need some... IS, please, just give us more dragon units. Somehow, somewhere. Maybe a Degensya Grand Hero Battle, like I suggested a while back. Speculated, what have you. You know, there's plenty of dragon shifters throughout all of Fire Emblem. Any of them. Come on, give us any of them. We're missing a lot of very, you know, important skills that all the other emblems in the game have. And I don't mean the rant, because that's not what this video is about. But if I could pick any dragon out of all of Fire Emblem instead of just, you know, just Fire Emblem Heroes... Oh man, I didn't even think about it before this, so this is live shit right here. And I'm stalling for time, just talking out of my ass until I think of something. And the only thing I can really think of that would probably be my pick for, like, best dragon might possibly be Degensya. Mostly because Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn are one of my... or actually my favorite Fire Emblem game in the entire series, so out of the entire series it would be Degensya, but otherwise in Heroes, Ninian, just because, you know, she's a dancer. I like using her more than any other dragon in the game, and also she's really nice if you give her Hone attack. So essentially you use another dancer, Olivia, take her skill, give it to Ninian. Makes Ninian even better as a dragon, as a dancer, and a unit overall. She's also another one of my staples for Arena. If I need a dancer of some sort, I'll usually default to Ninian first and then go from there. Okay, and the final one is the healer. Oh boy, it's Jenny. Not that I don't like Jenny, but I just don't like healers as a whole. Now, I think we could make a healer that is virtually meta-shaking, or rather, just make a healer more useful than Jenny, because I obviously selected Jenny nearly solely because of Wrathful Staff. Because one of the biggest things holding healers back is they don't deal damage, which is kind of ironic, but also makes sense considering the Fire Emblem Heroes meta generally consists of one-round KOs. Basically, if you're not killing something, you're being killed, right? If your enemies aren't one-round killing you, you're... You know, if they're one-round killing you, you're kind of... You're not going to get use out of a healer, really. So, the fact that Jenny can actually participate in combat reliably because of the use of Wrathful Staff solidifies her position as my favorite healer, but otherwise, if you have to know, the close second was probably Mist, and that's because of my bias towards Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. Okay, so if we want to make another healer, a new healer in the game, if we want to make her useful, give her the Rescue Staff. Put that as her support skill. Make it something along the lines of maybe take a unit within, and this is kind of like speculation, I haven't really given it an amount of thought that would make it like really nice and solid and balanced or anything, so I'm just kind of talking out of my ass again. Have the unit be able to target an ally within, I don't know, 2 to 3 spaces, and teleport them like reverse Wings of Mercy, essentially force escape route onto them from the healer within like 2 to 3 squares. Almost like guidance, but the original unit is using it. I'm probably making it way too complicated. So basically, the support skill is take a unit from 2 to 3 squares away and put them in any square adjacent to the user of the support skill, right? I think that would be super useful, and whichever healer had this fucking ability, you'd probably actually use them in a fucking game. Maybe that's too strong, but it's an idea, right? And I actually happen to like it because it would make a healer actually fucking useful. I don't know, IS, figure it out. That would be really cool. Make healers great again. Alright. So I guess that's going to do it for my favorite characters in Fire Emblem Heroes. I got off topic quite often, but I actually had a lot of fun talking about some of these units and some of the things related to them and unrelated to them. So if you liked it too, let me know in the comments. Maybe even let me know what your favorite character in Fire Emblem Heroes is. Maybe even in the Discord throw together a graphic kind of similar to mine and show me, tag me in it. I don't know. I hope you like it, and DFTBA. I stole that from other places.